He said about President Obama, I'm going to quote you, he grew up and nobody knew him. Nobody knows who he is until later in his life. The whole thing is very strange. What are you driving at there? Are you a Bertha, Donald?
Okay. Let me just tell you, I was a really good student at the best school. I'm not like a smart guy, okay? They make these birthers into the worst idiots. Why doesn't he show his birth certificate? I think he probably...
He have to?
Because I have to, and everybody else has to, Whoopi.
I'm sure
why
that you
wouldn't
can't
he show...
Excuse me.
Why? No, excuse me. I really believe there's a birth certificate. Why? Look, she's smiling. Why doesn't he show his birth certificate? And you know what? I wish he would, because I think it's a terrible pall that's hanging over him. He should show his birth certificate. The other thing, if you go back to my first grade, my kindergarten, people remember me. Nobody from those early years.
That's not true.
We have pictures of them.
What are you talking about?
Okay, show me a picture.
There are kids in Hawaii. There are people in Hawaii. There are people that he's grown up. No, it's little kids.
I haven't seen early pictures. But more importantly, why doesn't he... And you know what? I think he probably was, but the word probably, Whoopi...
Why did he have to defend himself against...
You know why?
Against an accusation?
Because if you're going to be the president...
He's an American citizen.
Because if you're going to be the president of the United States, it says very profoundly that you have to be born in this country.
But did any other president do that? Did George Bush cannot be the president?
Why did he want the thing over if it's
Probably
true?
he was.
No one has ever asked George Bush or said to George Bush, I'm sorry, is Hawaii not part of the United States?
George Bush. And I'm not saying I was a fan of George Bush.
No.
You know that better than anybody. But George Bush was born in this country. That's right.
Isn't Hawaii still part of the United States?
Am
I gone?
Do you question whether he was or not because he hasn't come forward with it?
I grew up in New York. Wall Street was a big part. I have seen fraud, and I have seen scandal, and I have seen things that a lot of people don't see. I've seen people take a $100 bill and make it $1 million bill.
We're going to have to pause. Get to the point.
Okay, the point is, I can't rely on some newspaper that they show that...
In order to become president of the United States, in order to
I
get
want
a
him to
driver's
show his
license,
birth certificate. I want him to show his birth certificate. There's something on that birth certificate that he doesn't like.
Oh, my God.
That's a terrible
that is
thing
just
to say.
Whoopi, I'm telling you.
Whoopi,
I love you. I'm telling
I love you, too. I think that's the biggest pile of dog mess I've heard in ages.
The question is, why not show it, right? There's something on his birth certificate he doesn't want to show.
It's not because he's black.
Let him show has nothing to do with that.
Because I've never heard any white president ask to be shown the birth certificate. When you become a president of the United States of America, you know that he's American. I'm sorry, that's BS.
Are you saying that it just only lets people have doubt? Do you want to talk about The Apprentice?
Doesn't matter. It's doing great. The ratings are through the roof. This is boring.
But we have to pause. We'll have more of this when we come back. Well, it was an easy decision to put Donald Trump on my list of the 10 most fascinating people of 2011, because after a year of making headlines on a daily basis, he is ending 2011 by moderating his own Republican presidential debate and may even get back in the race. He's always making news, and we're very happy to welcome back Donald Trump.
It's been so long. Let's get going.
We've run out of time.
This is the, Donald, welcome. But this is the second time you've been on Barbara's Most Fascinating list. So something tells me you agree with this decision, huh?
Oh, I totally agree.
Yeah.
I was disappointed because I think that means I don't qualify for the most fascinating, and I'm devastated. I don't like that, Whoopi.
Never quite satisfied.
Another thing we wanted to know was we were talking about Mitt Romney when he made this $10,000 bet with Rick Perry on this mandated health care.
Right.
Do you think that Mitt Romney was serious when he made the bet, and will it hurt him?
I don't think he was serious, but it certainly hurt him. A lot of people didn't see it. They didn't like it. And the fact is, I think he was right. Somebody just said, actually, Whoopi, you said just a little while ago, he was right. But I think it was not appropriate, and it wasn't good.
You always talk about how rich you are.
No, I don't talk about how rich. Other people do. I don't really talk about
No, you talk about how successful you are.
Well, that's a different word.
Well, why do people not like it?
Well, I think a lot of people do like me. That's a very negative question.
No, that's not what I said. That's not what I said. I said, why do people not like the fact that Mitt Romney, you know, would bet $10,000? We know he's rich, so why does that hurt him?
Well, you know, it's a funny thing with it because I've gotten to know him. He's come up to Trump Tower. We speak a lot and everything else. And he really is a nice guy and a capable guy, and he just hasn't caught on. I mean, it's amazing. He's at 20%, he's at 22%. Yeah, somebody drops out, Herman Cain, who I think is a great guy, by the way. I've met him and really got to know him well. And I love him. He's just a great guy. He's suffered, well, I don't want to say, believe it or not, I can tell you, he's suffered greatly. Oh.
You know, let me ask you something else about Newt Gingrich, because we were talking about, in these hot topics there, about the fact that he's divorced 3 times and he has a lot of baggage in that department. And, you know, to be perfectly frank, you have been divorced several times also and remarried, etc.
No, 2.
Okay, 2. You're on your 3rd wife.
I'm a virgin.
You're on your 3rd wife. I think Gingrich is on his 3rd wife also.
He is. I think he is.
Yeah.
Yes.
So is that a factor? Should anybody care about that?
I think it was a huge factor 10 and 15 years ago. Sure. I think today people are worried about jobs and the economy, and they're worried about where the world is going. And I think it might be a factor for a very small group of people, but I think overall it's not a big factor.
So all right.
I just want to ask you, because you talked about the debate, and you were moderating a Republican debate December 27th. As of today, only Newt Gingrich and Rick Santorum have agreed to participate.
Right.
John Huntsman, who's going to be on with us tomorrow, I'm going to read this. He called your debate a joke. Michelle Bachmann thinks you've already made up your mind, so, you know, what's the point of coming on? Ron Paul said your debate is beneath the office of the presidency and flies in the face of that office's history and dignity.
He meant that in a good way.
Yes, he
all of these are,
he meant it
so
very
are
nicely.
you still going to have debates with just 2 candidates?
We may have a chat. We may have a chat. I may chat with Newt for an hour, and I think it'll do well. Everyone says we'll have the highest ratings if we do it.
Of course,
but the fact is, I think we'll do great if we do that.
They did good on Saturday night, by the way, with the ratings.
Did they do well?
Yes, they did.
Well, that's good. You know, look, Huntsman is never going anywhere. He's not going. He's got 1% of the vote. He's not going to do anything. He's stuck. He couldn't even qualify for your debate, by the way, on Friday night or Saturday night. Michelle Bachmann, I was very disappointed in her because she came up to Trump Tower 4 times. I said, no, not again. And she kept coming, and as the expression goes, and she just would call, and she actually was on somebody's show and said very nicely that I should be her vice presidential person, that she wanted to choose me as vice president. Okay, and then she doesn't do the debate.
Flip-flop.
So I was a little bit disappointed in that. I thought she probably should have done it. I think it'll be a very positive moment. I think it'll be great.
What about Ron Paul?
Well, Ron Paul's not going to get elected. I mean, you know, I actually like him. Yeah. He's got some interesting views. He's got some crazy views to allow Iran to have a nuclear missile and just uncheck nuclear weapons.
Yeah,
and
like
what is that going to do? Well, I'm going to announce that fairly soon. I'm actually going to make an endorsement. No, I'm going to actually. Maybe we'll come back in a couple of weeks. I'm going to make an endorsement at some point.
I just want to ask you, I mean, I don't know if you're aware of the statement that Newt Gingrich made, and I know how much you do with kids who are disadvantaged. Right. Do you think that was a smart thing for him to say?
Well,
they should be janitors in order that they not become prostitutes and pimps?
Well, I don't know. Did he actually say
that?
You
have to actually. No, he did. We showed it.
Well,
he actually, those were the words.
I don't know. I didn't actually hear the statement. I know it's. I would like to see that. Yeah,
I'll show it to you.
I would, because he is a good man.
Let me talk about your book.
Yes.
This is your 17th book.
Yeah, well, 12th, I think, but it's 12.
It's only 12?
Yeah, I think it's only 12.
Oh, well, it's only 12. Okay. So it's called Time to Get Tough, Making America #1 Again, and you call the president, it's an economic disaster right now. Obama doesn't understand how wealth is created. You say we become a laughingstock, etc. Can you find anything nice to say about Barack Obama?
Well, I'll tell you, the thing that I really...
By the way, here's a book.
And I actually like him in a lot of ways. I do like him as a person, but I will say this. I really thought he'd be a great cheerleader for this country. I thought that whether he was a great president or not a great, this is when he was elected, I thought he was going to be a great, great cheerleader. And I've never seen this country so divided as it is now.
Really?
The Republicans well, I don't think it's as bad. I mean, I think
yes.
it's now, and maybe it is the Republicans also. It's certainly not just his fault. But the country is divided, and the world is taking advantage of us, and they're taking away our wealth. I mean, you go to some of these countries, their streets are paved in gold, and we have potholes all over the place.
You do realize, but you do realize that the European Union right now is, you know, on their knees. I mean, the euro is going down the toilet. Europe and the other nations are in the worst crisis they've ever been in. I'm not sure where the gold is coming at.
When I look at nations, I'm talking about China, I'm talking about India, I'm talking about some of the
was started, you know, way before Obama. China was, we gave everything to China, trying to be nice.
The OPEC nations, Whoopi, who nobody has money like the OPEC nations, and we allow them to do that. And they're only there except, I mean, without us, they wouldn't be there. Believe me,
but
they wouldn't be there.
that doesn't mean that we're not doing anything because they're making money.
Well, I think we're doing a very poor job with China. They're manipulating their currency. They're taking our jobs. They're making our product, and they're laughing us. They think we are so. Well, now it is. For the last 3 years, it is. They think we are so stupid. They can't believe it.
But do you thought we were stupid years ago?
Why not?
This is nothing new.
Why not at this debate or conversation that you're going to have with Gingrich? Because it seems as though you still have a fire in you for this country. You still want to make things better on a global level. Why not re-endorse yourself?
Well, we'll see what happens. We're going to see who the Republicans choose, and if they choose somebody that I disagree with, I'm going to run as an independent.
If they choose someone you disagree with... We got Mitt and Newt. Do you disagree with them?
With what? With respect
Well, you said if they choose someone I don't agree, I'll run. Those are the two
I don't want to say
leading
because I'll be endorsing somebody, but if they choose somebody who I really disagree with, which is possible,
Which you
I
won't tell us?